Once upon a time, there was a little engine called Edward. He lived in a shed with 5 other engines. They were all bigger than Edward and boasted about it. The driver won't choose you again, they said. He wants big, strong engines like us. Edward had not been out for a long time. He began to feel sad. Just then, the driver and fireman came along to start work. The driver looked at Edward.
Why are you sad? Would you like to come out today?
Yes, please,
said Edward. So the fireman lit the fire with a nice lot of steam. Then the driver pulled the lever and Edward puffed away.
Hip, hip.
He whistled,
Look at me now.
The others were very cross at being left behind. Away went Edward to get some coaches. Be careful, Edward, said the coaches. Don't bump and bang us like the other engines do. So Edward came up to the coaches, very, very gently. The shunter fastened the coupling. Thank you, Edward, said the coaches. That was kind. We are glad you are taking us today. Then they went to the station where the people were waiting.
Beep, beep.
Whistled Edward.
Get in quickly, please.
So the people got in, and Edward waited happily for the guard to blow his whistle and wave his green flag. He waited and waited. There was no whistle, no green flag.
Beep, 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 beep. Where is the guard?
Edward was getting anxious. The driver and fireman asked the station master.
Have you seen the guard?
No, he said. They asked the porter.
Have you seen the guard?
Yes, last night. Edward began to get cross.
Are we ever going to start?
He said. Just then, a little boy shouted, Here he comes! And there the guard was, running down the hill with his flags in one hand and sandwich in the other. He ran onto the platform, blew his whistle and jumped into his van. Edward puffed off. He did have a happy day. All the children ran to wave as he went past and he met old friends at all the stations. He worked so hard that the driver promised to take him out again the next day.
I am going out again tomorrow,
He told the other engines that night in the shed.
What do you think of that?
But he didn't hear what he thought, for he was so tired and happy that he fell asleep at once. One of the engines in Edward's shed is called Gordon. He was very big and proud. You watch me this afternoon, Edward, he boasted, as I rush through with the express. That will be a splendid sight for you. Just then, his driver pulled the lever. Goodbye, little Edward, said Gordon as he puffed away. Look out for me this afternoon. Edward went off too, to do some shunting. Edward liked shunting. It was fun playing with the trucks. He would come up quietly and give them a pull. Woo! 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 Screamed the trucks. Whatever is happening? Then he would stop and the silly trucks would go bump into each other. Oh! 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 They cried again. Edward pushed them until they were running nicely. When they weren't expecting it, he would stop. One of them would be sure to run into another line. Edward played until there were no more trucks. Then he stopped to rest. Presently, he heard a whistle. Gordon came puffing along, very slowly and very cross. Instead of nice shining coaches, he was pulling a lot of very dirty coal trucks. A goods train! A goods train! A goods train! He grumbled. The shame of it! The shame of it! Oh, the shame of it! He went slowly through with the trucks clattering and banging behind him. Edward laughed and went to find some more trucks. Soon afterwards, a porter came and spoke to his driver.
Gordon can't get up the hill. Will you take Edward and push him, please?
They found Gordon halfway up the hill and very cross. His driver and fireman were talking to him severely.
You're not trying.
They told him. I can't do it, said Gordon. The noisy trucks hold an engine back so. If they were coaches now, clean, sensible things that come quietly, that would be different. Edward's driver came up.
We've come to push,
he said. No use at all, said Gordon. You wait and see. They brought the train back to the bottom of the hill. Edward came up behind the brake van and was ready to push.
Beep beep! I'm ready.
Boop boop! No good, grumbled Gordon. The guard blew his whistle and they pulled and pushed as hard as they could. I can't do it! I can't do it! I can't do it!
I will do it. I will do it. I will do it.
I can't do it!
I will do it.
I can't do it!
I will do it.
I can't do it!
I will do it.
They puffed together. Edward pushed and puffed and puffed and pushed as hard as he ever could. And almost before he realised it, Gordon found himself at the top of the hill. I've done it! I've done it! I've done it! He said proudly, and forgot all about Edward pushing behind. He didn't wait to say thank you, but ran so fast that he passed 2 stations before his driver could make him stop. Edward had pushed so hard that when he got to the top of the hill, he was out of breath. Gordon ran on so fast that Edward was left behind. The guard waved and waved, but Edward could not catch up. He ran on to the next station, and there the driver and fireman said they were very pleased with him. The fireman gave him a nice long drink of water, and the driver said,
Get out my paint tomorrow and give you a beautiful new coat of blue with red stripes. Then you'll be the smartest engine in the shed.
Once, an engine attached to a train was afraid of a few drops of rain. It went into a tunnel, squeaked through its funnel, and never came out again. The engine's name was Henry. His driver and fireman argued with him, but he would not.
The rain will spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes,
he said. The guard blew his whistle until he had no more breath and waved his flags until his arms ached. But Henry still stayed in the tunnel and blew steam into it.
I'm not going to spoil my lovely green paint and red stripes for you,
he said rudely. The passengers came and argued too, but Henry would not move. A fat director who was on the train told the guard to get out a rope. We will pour her out, he said, but Henry only blew steam at him and made him wet. They hooked the rope on and pulled, except the fat director. My doctor's Robin Wing, he said. They pulled and pulled and pulled, but Henry still stayed in the tunnel. Then they tried pushing from the other end. The fat director said, 1, 2, 3, push! But did not help. My doctor has forbidden me to push, he said. They pushed and pushed and pushed, but still Henry stayed in the tunnel. At last, another train came. The guard waved his red flag and stopped it. The 2 engine drivers, the 2 firemen and the 2 guards went and argued with Henry. Look, it has stopped raining now,
Yes, but it would begin again soon.
said Henry.
And what would become of my green paint with red stripes then?
Come on, Henry. You can't stay here all day.
So they brought the other engine up, and it pushed and puffed and puffed and pushed as hard as ever it could. But still Henry stayed in the tunnel.
No use. I can't do it.
So they gave up. They told Henry, we shall leave you there for always and always and always. They took up the old rails and built a wall in front of him and cut a new tunnel. Now Henry can't get out, and he watches the trains rushing through the new tunnel. He is very sad because no one will ever see his lovely green paint with wraps again. But I think he deserved it, don't you? Edward and Gordon often went through the tunnel where Henry was shut up. Edward would say,
Hello there.
Gordon would say, burr, 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 serves you right. Poor Henry had no steam to answer. His fire had gone out. Soot and dirt from the tunnel roof had spoiled his lovely green paint with red stripes anyway. He was cold and unhappy and wanted to come out and pull trains again. Gordon always pulled the express. He was proud of being the only engine strong enough to do so. There were many heavy coaches, full of important people, like the fat director who had punished Henry. Gordon was seeing how fast he could go. Hurry, hurry, hurry! He panted. Trickety-tock, 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 said the coaches. Gordon could see Henry's tunnel in front. In a minute, he thought, I'll boo, 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 and Henry, rushed through and out into the open again. Closer and closer he came. He was almost there when crack! He was in a cloud of steam and going slower and slower. His driver stopped the train. What has happened to me? Asked Gordon. I feel so weak.
You've burst your safety valve,
said the driver.
You can't pull the train anymore.
Oh dear, said Gordon. We were going so nicely too. Look at Henry laughing at me. Gordon made a face at Henry and blew smoke at him. Everyone got out and came to see Gordon. Said the fat director. I never like these big engines. Always going wrong. Send for another engine at once. When the guard went to find one, they uncoupled Gordon and ran in onto a siding out of the way. The only engine left in the shed was Edward.
I'll come and try.
Gordon saw him coming. That's no use, he said. Edward can't pull the train. Edward puffed and pulled and pulled and puffed, but he couldn't move the heavy coaches. I told you so, said Gordon rudely. Why not let Henry try? Yes, said the fat controller. I will. Will you help pull this train, Henry? He asked.
Oh, yes, certainly,
said Henry at once. So Gordon's driver and fireman lit his fire, some plate layers broke down the wall and put back the rails. And when he had steam up, Henry puffed out. He was dirty, his boiler was black and he was covered with cobwebs.
Oh, my joints! I feel stiff!
He groaned. You better have a round to ease your joints. Find a turntable, said the fat director kindly. Henry came back feeling better, and they put him in the front. Said Edward.
I'm ready.
Yes, so am I,
said Henry.
Come on, pull hard, pull hard!
Puffed Henry.
Pull hard.
Puffed Edward.
We'll do it. Pull hard. We'll do it.
Pull hard, we'll do it. Pull hard, we'll do it. Pull hard, we'll do it. They puffed together. The heavy coaches jerked and began to move. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. We've done it together! We've done it together! We've done it together! Said Edward and Henry. You've done it! Hooray! You've done it! Hooray! You've done it! Hooray! Sang the coaches. All the passengers were excited. The fat director leaned out of the window to wave at Edward and Henry. But the train was going so fast that his hat blew off into a field where a goat ate it for his tea. They never stopped till they came to the big station at the end of the line. Passengers all got out and said thank you. The fat director promised Henry a new coat of paint. "Would you like blue and red?"
Oh, yes, please.
said Henry.
Then I'll be like Edward and Gordon. That will be nice.
Edward and Henry went home quietly, and on their way, they helped Gordon back to the shed. All three engines are now great friends. Wasn't Henry pleased when he had his new coat? He is very proud of it, as all good engines are. But he doesn't mind the rain now, because he knows now that the best way to keep his paint nice is not to run into tunnels, but to ask his driver to rub it down when the day's work is over.